Today on Bike People, we are talking pie. Athlon, that is. We learn all about Dr. Bob.
It's another day in paradise.
And Suzette takes us for a ride.
Check out the sign.
All that and more this week on Bike People. Bike People is brought to you in part by the Des Moines Bicycle Collective promotes bicycling as a means of active transportation, wellness, and recreation in central Iowa. The Iowa Natural Heritage Foundation, working to protect and restore Iowa's land, water, and wildlife. Bike Iowa, your source for Iowa bicycle rides, events, and news, connecting cycling with Iowa communities since 2001.
My name is Forrest. I got my first bike at age 3, my next bike at age 7. I've ridden in Europe, Australia, and all across our great nation.
My name is Suzette. I'm a mom, TV personality,
I have no excuse.
and bike lover. I've known Forrest for years from interviews, rides, and bike events.
Things up for rag ride issue.
I'm in the bicycle business and a cycling enthusiast. I've been collecting, fixing, and selling bikes my whole life.
We love bikes and all the people, stories, and adventures around them.
We're on a journey to show you the world through two wheels.
To help you become
Bike People.
Welcome to Bike People. This week we learn about some of the people who have made Iowa the biking state that it is and how their names are associated with some of the trails.
Let me see if I can guess a couple. Dr. Bob Breedlove, Bill Riley, Mayor John Pat Dorian.
Very good, a slice of pie for this guy. Woohoo! Well, we also sit down with the Iowa Natural Heritage Foundation, an organization that's been involved in the planning and completion of over 50% of the trails in Iowa.
Well, I hear you've been out riding in the Raccoon River Trail, so maybe we can go out, talk to him, and get an update on the paving process for the entire loop.
I bet we can. We're going to explore how bike events help raise money for charities, trail expansions, and more.
Well, they helped me raise my appetite for a piece of pie.
Funny you should mention that. I have a perfect event for you. Can you swim?
Not so well.
The Piathlon is an event operated by the YMCA of Greater Des Moines to support cancer survivorship.
The idea of the event was created by Penny and Dave Milburn after they discussed the importance of raising money to fight cancer. Beautiful new facility here. These folks are going to have a great day out there raising money for a good cause.
The YMCA is really a wonderful part of our community. The Piathlon is considered a sprint triathlon, and they have chip timing so you can see how you did compared to others.
Perfect day for the events. Nice weather, a little bit of a breeze.
This sounds like such a fun event.
Well, I like the idea of the 3 disciplines. You got to be able to swim, ride, and run.
4 disciplines, and eat pie.
And eat pie. I've forgotten the most important one. Thank you.
Well, I know that I would enjoy swimming inside. I'm just so scared to swim with other people in a lake.
Well, it's a lot more fun in the lake, though. Wide open. Got a few fish in there to give you instructions if you need them. I can see that you would be probably a good open water swimmer.
I'm not buying the whole fish thing. You can see it is definitely for charity and for fun. No one's racing off. The chip timing is pretty simple. You just wear it on your ankle and you can find out how you did compared to everybody else.
Computers take care of everything. You just do your job, have some fun, and the computers will tell you how the results were.
Is your name on there, Mr. Ridgway?
My name is not on here. Looks like a group getting ready to finish the event, ready for the final phase, the pie phase. Well, I do like the idea of a fundraiser where you get pie, but I will leave the triathlon part to you.
Well, I know you like your pie, but there's other ways to raise money too. Remember we did Bike Bondue, which is a fundraiser we did earlier this year.
Well, Bike Bondue is fun. It's a fundraiser to extend the Chautauqua Trail on both ends, and they did have a pie stop there, might I add.
Of course they did, but there's other ways to raise money and rides with longer goals too, like Tour de Maze, which helps build houses for Habitat for Humanity, and Bike MS, which of course is raises money to research for MS.
The one that I love is the Race Across America. That's a real event. 3,000 miles across 12 states, 30% longer than the Tour de France. They raise over $2 million for people's personal charities. And we have a great team from here in Des Moines that we've got some footage on coming in after that race.
Super.
This is the final finish line.
Here's the team riding into the Welcome Home event. The team leader is Dr. Richard Deming, who's also the medical director of Mercy Cancer Center.
We rode 3,000 miles across 12 states, 24/7, up 170,000 feet, comparable to climbing Mount Everest 6 times, and ended the bicycle race in Annapolis, Maryland, 3,000 miles later, in 6 days, 21 hours, and 17 minutes. Can you believe it? This was a race, and we had to go fast enough or we'd be disqualified. And our first time point was Durango, Colorado. And if we didn't make Durango, Colorado in 61 hours, we would be told, sorry, you're not in the race. Take off your stickers and go. And elevate and inspire others to reach for something above and beyond what they think they can attain. Because only by reaching for something that's beyond what you think you can grasp do you have any idea what you can do. None of you have any idea what you can accomplish in life. If our motley crew can ride our bikes 3,000 miles in 6 days and 21 hours, you can do anything. And you should, and the world will be better for it.
The RAM is one of the premier cycling events in the United States, and it's open to everyone ages 13 to 75, and you can either enter solo or as a team.
People come from all over the world. About 15% are women, so there you go, Suzette. And think of it as the Mount Everest of cycling. It's a challenge that few people can do, but those that do have fun doing it. If you're a cyclist in Iowa, you know the name Dr. Bob. Dr. Bob Breedlove, friend of cyclists everywhere. Done the Race Across America a number of times. In 2005, was involved in a tragic accident and lost his life. We were able to put together a memorial for him, the trailhead of his very favorite trail, just a mile from his house. We have some great film footage to show you about that. And today, truly, weather-wise, a little chilly, but it's another day in paradise. I mean, it's a beautiful day, it really is. And I'm reminded of a story that on the Race Across America, I was crewing with Dr. Bob, and one night, it was 2 in the morning. It was colder than cold. You could see your breath. It's pouring down rain. And Bob had just stopped for a small break. We're getting his bike all ready to go, getting his nutrition ready to go, getting him back on the bicycle. And you could tell as he's sitting in the back seat of the warm vehicle that he wasn't overly excited about getting out into that element and riding through the night. And I was very happily able to say to him, Bob, but it's another day in paradise. I don't think for once during that 2-minute segment that he really believed me, but he got back on the bicycle and he did what he needed to do, which is go out and finish that race and do a great job. And as most of us do know, Dr. Bob, he's a great man.
If you have a story today, I'd love to hear it. I actually got my first very sweaty hug from someone today in 7 years. Bob always came home from his rides early in the morning and he'd come in and he'd say, he's just dripping wet, who wants the first hug? And we'd all go, no, no, no. But I got a sweaty hug today from Ian, one of Bob's partners, and it really felt good. So Thank you to all who came out today and to the city for this amazing tribute. I hope you have time to read what this says. It really says a lot about Bob, and this trail that we're on was a special trail to my kids. How many times did you two ride on that?
Every Sunday for years.
Every Sunday for years. and now it's dedicated to your dad. So I'm really proud, I'm really pleased, and I'm sure he is too. Thanks for all coming.
Since you're newer to cycling, you should really get to know a little more about Dr. Bob. I can probably hook you up with the family members and let you learn a little bit more about him.
Great, I'd love to. Forrest and I are here with Molly and Annie, two of Dr. Bob's daughters. We're at the Paradise Plaza at Ashworth Park. So excited that you guys got to come out and speak with us. This is wonderful.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us. So I understand that your dad was quite the bicyclist. Was he always a rider?
He started out running, but due to a knee injury, he decided biking would be better to keep in shape and keep healthy. So he switched in about 83, 84. So when we were really young, and then it just took off from there.
And he didn't just like start biking and it was like a hobby. He kind of went all in, it sounds like.
Yeah.
He was more of a go big or go home kind of a guy. So once he got something going in his mind, then it was over, it was done. So
how often did he ride each week?
Every day.
Wow.
At least once a day, every day. Sometimes he would ride. You know, most of the time he'd get up really early in the morning at, 3 or 4 in the morning and either ride in the basement or go ride outside. And then he'd go to work, and then sometimes he would still come home and ride in the afternoons or evenings, or go on a ride with us kids when we were younger. And so we would just kind of know Dad was on the bike.
Right.
There's a lot of great Dr. Bob stories, quite frankly. I mean, I remember when Bob first got into cycling, he was a runner, very competitive, but he wasn't a fast runner, and that hacked him off. So he was invited to go on a bicycle ride with some serious bicyclists. He could keep up with the serious bicyclists, and he said, maybe this is my sport, and he went all in, and it became his sport, and he excelled at it. And talk about dedication. I remember one day, I'm going over to your house to drop something off, and I'm talking to your mom, Gretchen, and we chatted for 10 or 15 minutes, and she says, Bob's downstairs, he's working out. So I go downstairs, he looks up and he's got that Bob grin, and he goes, 10 more minutes. He had a workout scheduled for that day. He had 10 more minutes on this rowing machine, and he was tearing it apart. And me, I would have said, wow, somebody's here. I have an excuse to get off this thing 10 minutes early. No, 10 minutes, the buzzer goes off, he gets up, we did our business, and I dropped off what I was there to drop off, and we chatted for another half an hour. But he's so dedicated, and that's why he was so good as a cyclist, as a father, and as a husband. So he's a great guy.
What do you believe that your dad did for cycling here in Des Moines and across the country?
I think here in Des Moines, he did a great job of keeping the state, keeping it safe for everyone. He always wore orange, he always promoted helmets, he was really big on trails, or if you're riding on the roads, being cautious and stuff like that. I think now with the Iowa Bike Coalition, my dad would have loved all the things they're doing now. That wasn't really a big thing then, but I think, his passion for the safety of cycling was really important, and I think that helped our community a lot too.
Right.
And I think one of the things, for me growing up, he got other people involved and excited about cycling. I know that it was the biggest deal that Dr. Bob was going to be at the bike ride that we were having. And I was like, okay, well, I'm in the bike club in elementary school. I'm in 4th or 5th grade, and all my friends were excited because he was going to be there. And that was one of the reasons they wanted to be in the bike club, was because he was a part of it. And so just bringing that, awareness to the younger kids, and then with, the cycling teams and different groups that he kind of helped sponsor and worked with, that was the big thing, was he just wanted people to ride and enjoy it and to be healthy. You
talk about how Dr. Bob was so popular in the cycling community, and he would do talks all around the state of Iowa where clubs would say, hey, can we get Dr. Bob to come and do a talk for our annual event? Well, this ride or this city could be 100, 150 miles away. Bob would just ride to it to do his talk. Most of us go, well, that's a long drive. I don't know if I want to commit to that. Bob would just, it's only 100 and some miles. I'll just ride up there, get a ride back with somebody or ride back on his own. And he was just that kind of a guy. He would do 100 miles, which most of us would say, oh man, 100 miles today, I'm exhausted. He'd do 100 miles, be fresh, go in and do surgery for 8 or 10 hours, and go out for another ride in the afternoon or the evening time. So he was really an incredible guy, an incredible athlete, a friend to everybody. I mean, he was the kind of guy, he probably had about 100 best friends, or he was best friends to 100 people because he was that sort of a gregarious guy and just a super man.
Sounds like he was just an incredible human being all around, and physically, they just don't make humans like that, do they?
He was superhuman. He really was superhuman in so many respects.
I would know he could fit 26 hours worth of work in a 24-hour day and sleep. Yeah,
easily.
Do you see any of your children having those same attributes?
My kids are very driven in what they do. They really work hard and they set goals and work hard to accomplish them. So I see that in my kids especially, and one of my daughters is athletically inclined just like he is. I mean, we could put her in, we laugh about it all the time, we could put her in something at 16 she's never done before, and she could be on the varsity team because she just is that inclined. So, yep.
Ladies, thank you so much for sharing. This has been fantastic.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Good to see you again, guys.
See ya.
I'm here with Andrea Chase from the Iowa Natural Heritage Foundation. We are in downtown Des Moines by the Asian Gardens on the John Pat Dorian Trail. Thank you for coming out today.
Thank you for having me.
What does Iowa Natural Heritage Foundation do? I know that you do a little bit of work with the trails, but there's many things that you guys are responsible for.
Iowa Natural Heritage Foundation is primarily a land trust, so to say. We work on conserving Iowa's natural areas through conservation easements and doing stewardship work on them as well. And as that program got started, we realized that some of the most pristine prairie remnants are along rail corridors. So we got involved back in the 1980s on protecting those rail corridors for the natural resource, the greenways that they naturally create, as well as a way to provide alternative transportation routes and build those trails across Iowa.
Well, I noticed that some of the trails here in Iowa are memorial trails, like we've got Bill Riley, and then we have Neil Smith is a trail that's named after, well, Neil Smith. So what's the difference? Are those also trails that you work on, or what's the process to get, how do I get my name on a trail, basically?
Well, the Neil Smith Trail, Neil Smith was a key player in bringing funding to Iowa and to that particular trail project to make that happen when he was in Congress.
So in the last couple of years, what has been the biggest project?
I think it's easy to say the biggest project that has been completed in the last few years is the High Trestle Trail. That's a project that the Iowa Natural Heritage Foundation got started on, working with the 5 communities in 4 counties to develop that 25-mile trail across the Des Moines River Valley and connecting those towns, and then our huge iconic High Trestle Trail trestle bridge.
Right. Well, one of the projects that is on my radar right now is the Raccoon River Valley Trail, and I know that we were out there and they were paving and big plans to connect. What are the plans for that trail?
In central Iowa, we brag about these 2 loop trails, 200-mile loop trails that we're hoping to complete. And that is probably going to be the first one that we get completed. And it will be a little short of 100 miles, or 100 miles depending on where you start. That will create a loop trail involving the Raccoon River Valley Trail and then down through Perry and back to Waukee. And it's a great experience because that's what draws people to trails is that loop. You can start somewhere, you can stay at the bed and breakfast, you can visit the restaurants, and you can make your way back to the beginning without having to backtrack. And it's going to be an exciting opening, and it's going to be just one more thing that Iowa can brag about having when it comes to our trails and our recreational opportunities.
It seems like a trail would be an easy sell for anybody. Now, they're everywhere in Iowa, but I suppose at one point, how did you justify, raising money and using the trail system? Were there people who said, no, this is not a good idea, we don't need it?
Yes, and believe it or not, there are still people that are saying that. Wow. I've only been working with the foundation, actually it'll be about 7 years. Prior to me coming on board, my bosses and predecessors, Lisa Hine and Mark Ackelson, were doing trails work. And there are stories that they tell me about having to be escorted out of public meetings by police officers because it was such a controversial issue 10, 15 years ago. But right now, what I like to say is these railroads that many of our trails are built on were the interstates connecting these small towns. Yeah. They created these towns, they sustained these towns, and now they're not there anymore, and the highways and the interstates are bypassing them. Trails give these communities an opportunity to be reconnected to the tourism opportunities, the economic development opportunities, and just add an additional quality of life enhancement.
I really appreciate your work. I mean, not only Iowa Natural Heritage Foundation, but you in particular, because this wouldn't happen without your work and your drive, so I appreciate that.
Well, thank you. But I mean, it really is the local communities and the counties that do the work. We just make sure that everyone's connected to the right people, talking to the right people, and making sure things get done.
Thank you so much for your time today.
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So glad to get out of the office and out on my bike. What a fantastic trailhead. It's a great place to start my adventure. It's a beautiful day here in Waukee, and we're at the beginning of the Raccoon River Valley Trail. And as you can see, they put in some new facilities here behind us, which makes this the perfect place to start our ride. It may not look like a lot right now, but 80 years ago, Ortonville was a circus. So when you ride by, stop and check out the sign. If I stay on the path, I'll be headed right into Adel. The beautiful North Raccoon River flows under a pair of unique old bridges. Oh, look, another sign. There's so many things that I love about Iowa trails. One of them is the bridges, and this beauty brought us into Adel. The other is all the signage. There's so much history to learn about here in Iowa. The trail takes you through downtown Adel, a side you won't see unless you're on your bike. There's the United Brick and Tile Company, a well-known landmark in the town. The Raccoon River Valley Trail extends far beyond the original Redfield depot you see here, but I'm going to take a detour. There's a park that I've heard is a must-see. Take the fork in the trail half a mile west to a lovely place for a picnic. You can enjoy the Raccoon River and a massive outcrop of sandstone. How can I resist a name like Hanging Rock? A beautiful day for exploring another hidden treasure. Wow, I can see myself taking a picnic basket and someone special here next time. I think I'll need another bike for that. Native Americans must have enjoyed its presence as well. Old-timer Redfield citizens talk about finding arrowheads, flint, and a wide variety of evidence of the presence of America's first people. Even today, lucky visitors may run across them. The South and Middle Raccoon Rivers join together less than a mile downstream. Hanging Rock has been used as a major landmark for years. The area just downstream was a ford used by wagon trains heading west during the mid-1800s. That's all the farther we go today. I can't wait to continue my journey around the loop to Jefferson and back, maybe hit a bed and breakfast or hotel patty.
Well, if you want to go self-contained bagger style, there's some new campgrounds along the way that you can spend the night out, and I'm certain if I went with you, we could find some pie.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, this week we learned about trails in Iowa and how biking is not only just fun, but you can raise money for charities.
If you're looking for a fundraising bike ride, don't forget, always check out your local bike shop.
Or go to bikeiowa.com with a specific charity name in mind.
I was thinking, if I did the Piathlon and only did the biking portion, do you think it'd limit me to just 1/3 of a piece of pie?
Now make sure you tune in next week when we talk about cyclocross, mountain biking, and single track riding.
Don't forget, check us out on our webpage and on Facebook for more cycling information.
So get on out there.
And become bike people.
With Molly and Annie, a couple of screw that. It's early. Okay. Oh, jeez. Okay. Throw it all in
Did
there.
you notice that she gets all the lines and I just smile and nod and go, yes?
Yep.
Also, check us out on Facebook and check out our webpage.
So get out there. Oh my God, I didn't. Oh my God, I totally cut you off.
Bike People is brought to you in part by the Des Moines Bicycle Collective promotes bicycling as a means of active transportation, wellness, and recreation in central Iowa. The Iowa Natural Heritage Foundation, working to protect and restore Iowa's land, water, and wildlife. Bike Iowa, your source for Iowa bicycle rides, events, and news, connecting cycling with Iowa communities since 2001.
Thanks for watching Bike People. For more about us, like our Facebook page and
check out our website at www.bikepeople.tv.
subscribe to our YouTube channel, Bike People TV, all one word for behind the scenes looks.